All right, everybody. I think we're live, ready to chat about stuff. Greg,
Sounds good.
Eric, are you excited?
Uh,
Yep, here we are.
well enough.
Yeah. Um. Guess. I guess this past weekend they revealed a whole bunch of new stuff. Games Workshop did anyway, so I guess maybe we'll talk
Mm-hmm.
about that.
Yeah, I feel it was what for their 35th anniversary or something. 30th anniversary. I don't
It
remember
was
anymore.
35th, I think.
I think it was 35th. Yeah,
Did they also the real question? Did they celebrate it better than Magic did for its recent anniversary?
they did. Well, I think it's. Guess this year is the 30th anniversary of Magic the Gathering, and I guess the main thing that people have decided is some of their celebrations and stuff were largely just things for Hasbro's investors, not actually people who supported the game or like the game. Um,
What did they do?
so
Oh, what did they do?
yeah, so the main thing that they announced was maybe in like a month or something, they're going to be reprinting the majority of the beta set. So that was like one of the original sets that contained all of the Power 9 cards, Black Lotus, shit like and
But
but a
they're
lot of
not
those
printing
cards
the
are on
Power
the
9.
yeah. Well, yeah. But a lot of those cards are on the reserve list, so that being cards that Wizards said they'd never reprint. So to get around that, they are reprinting the cards, but they have a special card back that's not the like official card back. So essentially, because of that, none of the cards are legal to play in tournaments and stuff. So essentially, they're just fancy new proxies, which is fine. Like, a lot of people who play different formats more casually and stuff, like they
Mm-hmm.
don't doesn't matter if they're using they're not using tournament legal cards, for instance. And so that idea, I think people were kind of cool, like, oh, that's neat, because about early on in the game's life, they did a similar thing where they reprinted the entire beta set, and you could buy the whole set for $50, but the cards had a special gold border on them. So again, they weren't tournament legal, but like you could get the whole set for $50. And so they did that a long time ago. So now for this set, instead of just being able to buy the whole set, instead you can buy a little box that contains 4 booster packs that has these reprinted cards in them, and like each booster pack has like a rare, like 3 uncommons and 7 commons, and then I think some special additional card. And so this box contains 4 booster packs. How much do you think they're charging for it?
$100.
I think, Eric, you know the price, right? So
I know now. I that's probably what I guess too, Greg.
that's not correct. They are charging $999.
What?
Yes, for 4 random booster packs with
What a deal.
non-tournament legal cards. And on top of that, there's only a limited printing of this, and you can only buy it through a special website of theirs. So it's a lot of people think, despite its ludicrous price tag, even if you had the funds and would be willing to like pay that exorbitant cost, you still might not be able to buy it because all of the investors and stuff and like finance people are probably going to buy all of them as quickly as they can. So it's like the most ludicrous predatory cash grab like you could ever imagine.
Yeah,
It's
holy
so weird because, yeah, if someone would buy one and open it, and they almost assuredly get all shit, like,
Oh
would be
yeah, like
literally worth nothing.
I
So,
mean a
like, it's
lot of the
only
stuff.
really worth.
Oh yeah, it's not really something to be open and enjoy. Well, so you should I think if you look on YouTube and stuff, you can find the video of them announcing it, and there are a bunch of people sitting around in chairs like talking about it, and it's cringe. It's like serious cringe, with them talking about how they really wanted to do something special, and how the notion like there are so few people who ever got a chance to like open like a Black Lotus or whatever. It's like, yeah, and well,
It's
and they're
not changing
still
and now
anything.
it's not changing at all. Like it's fucking ridiculous.
So, only somewhat related to that. Looking on Amazon, you can buy the Chaos Magic deck for $56,
That's
and you
pretty
can
good.
buy the Imperium one for 69.
Okay.
The
That,
other ones you can't.
that's not too bad. But yeah,
And like,
so the whole thing is like a huge cash grab, and I think a number of years ago, like maybe Hasbro set like a publicly set a goal for themselves that in like 3 years they wanted to increase revenue by like 50% or something. And because of Magic and its success, they did that in like half the time
Okay.
or something along those lines. So now I think a little while ago they made another similar claim that they want to do the same thing. I think they've since removed that claim on social media. But so
Why would they do that? It's just such, like, corporate speak and investor talk.
yeah,
Like,
so
so divorced of um
yeah.
yeah, so it's very clear
what people
this
care about.
yeah, so it's
Like
very clear this whole thing is they're printing probably a bunch of this. It's exorbitantly priced. It'll sell out in probably an instant, and they'll make a crap ton of money
Yeah.
for essentially almost no effort
investment.
or
Yeah, like,
investment.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also to like satisfy almost no people.
Also, the
Yeah, or
only thing that in addition to being able to buy it on their website, they're also sending a single one of these 4 booster packs boxes to every WPN gaming store, so stores that are affiliated with Magic and run their events. So they're
mhm.
sending a single one of them to every store. And then I think there are certain premium stores that they're sending 3 to. But I think for the most part, no store is a premium store. Or it's very rare. So they're
Well, like,
sending.
that just itself is so
Oh
cringe
yeah.
too, because
Also, they tried to in when the people were sitting around announcing it's like, well, we decided what could we do to like such that everyone could or something along those lines, and so we're sending one of these to every store. It's like so cringe. Oh my gosh.
like, it's only worth a lot because they said it. Like, literally nothing about it is actually worth that.
No.
So they're
No.
making it seem like, oh, they have such good prizes, and like,
It's bad. It's
kind of
really bad.
no.
So presumably they're trying to do this one because they know it'll make a lot of money, and it will probably also increase interest in some of like the older cards and stuff. And they're obviously just testing the market. So like probably next year it's like let's print all of the dark, let's print all reprint all of such and so. So like it's not going to stop here, and they're probably just going to make even more ridiculous products. Though I struggle to imagine what could be more ridiculous than $1,000 for 4 randomized booster packs.
Right. Yeah.
So it's pretty ridiculous.
Adam, what
Yeah.
inner sleeves did you get?
Oh, I normally I would buy like the KMC Perfect Fit sleeves, but so for this I was Dragon Shield also makes inner sleeves, and I was trying them out.
Well, if you
Okay.
could find a thing on Amazon, because I'm gonna order that Chaos deck because it's cheaper, and
Okay, yeah, I can
try to
do that.
play it with Clint.
But yeah, so super cringe. 30 years of Magic. They're celebrating with their stockholders, not the players.
Like that is so ridiculous. Like $1,000 essentially to buy 4 booster packs with non-tournament legal cards.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. You should try and look online to find some of the video of them announcing it, because it's bad. It's so bad. And you question how anyone could have kept a straight. Like, they must have really practiced it to make sure they didn't like burst out laughing and like, oh my
Or
god.
feel bad, like
Well, they
knowing that
probably
they're
did feel
betraying
bad.
people's
One of
love
the
for the
other funny
game.
things about it is in the initial article when they talking about the whole thing, I think they had like uh, a link say like, oh, this is where you'll eventually be able to go to buy these things.
Mm-hmm.
And well, within minutes someone had already purchased the domain for that website
Oh
and
my
put up
god.
their own website where they just sort of in a very polite way talked about how the product was like awful, and talked about how they essentially reprinted the whole beta set years ago and you could buy it as with
Wait a minute. So they announced this website, but they hadn't purchased the domain yet?
apparently, yeah. And so then
That's
they,
ridiculous.
after they found
Like
someone
what?
bought it before they could, they took the link out of their article.
Like my god, that's so stupid. Like why would they not? Why would
Yeah,
they
it was bad. Oh, the Wizards.
announce a website that they didn't buy the domain yet?
Yeah, it was bad. It's bad. So I don't think anything Games Workshop could do could be that egregious.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Like what I don't even know what could they do. Oh, I guess they could reprint like boxes of like the Mark 1 Rogue Trader plastic Space Marines, which like people would want those even though they look like shit. Like I love them. They could remake and reprint those and charge.
$300 per 10.
But yeah,
But
that's still
even
not
that,
even
like
bad.
I don't think they could do that.
Yeah, they're not like you. I don't think Games Workshop. There's nothing they could do that could be that bad,
Yeah.
because the problem with Magic is all the cards. There's like a secondary market where people will like sell them and make money off them. And like for Games Workshop, I mean, I guess there is a little bit of that, because when they stop making like bottles, people can sell them on eBay and stuff like that. But a lot of the stuff, it's not like you're using that in like official tournament play or any. So yeah, it's just different.
Yeah.
But so that's bad. That's bad.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Yeah, $1,000. Like, oof. I'm sorry, $999.
What's the name of the product?
Well, let me just find it on the screen. Like, Magic 30th anniversary, we'll say. God, is this? This might be their
Magic. I'm looking at an article somewhere. Magic.
Here,
the Gathering
celebrate 30
celebrates
years of
30 years.
Magic Gathering with 30th Anniversary Edition. Okay, so there they showing the card backing. And then, well, see, the thing is, they have in the set, so they have all the cards, and then one of the cards, like, I think maybe has, like, a special frame in it. And you get that too, so it's like, they're reprinting the old cards, but in some instances, they're actually modifying them. Like, I think for one of them, in one of the pictures they showed like maybe the original Bird of Paradise card, and they actually removed the artist's name from the card for some reason. So people were obviously pissed about that. And apparently they also said in it, so in like most of the cards in beta are they were horrible, like they're not playable, but some of like the Power 9 cards are certainly like exceedingly powerful and banned in most formats, but they also printed like the rare dual lands, and those sell for a lot of money and people really want them. For some reason in this reprinted set, you're like twice as likely to get one of the dual lands in the set. So that is like, that would be a thing you would be doing if you were trying to make it such that players could get more copies of these important land cards. But like, these aren't for players, they can't be used to play, and no one would have the money to buy the thing anyway. So like, who's it for?
Yeah,
And then there are a few cards that are not in the set, like Earthbind, which or Crusade, which I think is just, they deem it to be a little offensive. Some of the other stuff, like Demonic Attorney, stuff from, I think those have cards that maybe have like an anti-ability where it's like you're gambling and giving away your cards and stuff, so they were stupid.
yeah.
There was a card called Weakness that was removed. Target creature loses -2/-1. If drops the creature's toughness below 1, it is dead.
Okay, it's finally, because this is a celebration, we wanted to spread the love around. We also intend to gift completely free of charge one display of 30th Anniversary Edition to all WPN stores and 3 copies to all premium WPN stores. This will include stores in regions where this product cannot otherwise be shipped. Okay, so yeah, I think in certain parts of the world you couldn't even buy this if you had the money and wanted to, so it's just like a complete clown show.
I just sent an article about that to Ian. So, you know, Ian.
Yeah.
He said, I've seen those, so not worth it. What? Like, they haven't been released.
I guess he's saying he's seen like stuff about that or something. Yeah, I don't know.
He's seen them. Yeah, it's just hard to believe that they would.
Yeah, it's like, so you would open up one of those like booster packs and get a Sarah Angel, which you could buy for like 15 cents.
But this would be a proxy, so you couldn't even use it.
But the strange thing about it is, like, it's possible that some of these, even these cheap cards that have no real value, this printing could have value because it's so rare and like so few people will open them. So like,
Yeah.
they probably will have some value. So it's a really interesting product. It's
a bad
and shameful product, but it'll be interesting to see how it changes changes things for the game, and just things in general. Like yeah, it's bad. Because the thing is, like, people were talking, like, for a lot of these cards, like, if you, like, a lot of the dual lands that people really want, like, some of them are, like, $400 to, like, $1,000 for one. Like, well, you could just buy one of those or two of those for the price that you would spend for one of these proxy products.
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah, so it's just strange.
So weird.
Look at that box. Yeah, God. Well, actually, what does it say? Featuring the original. Will be on sale for the holidays, so you'll have it for Christmas, everybody. Available November 28th for $999 on the 30th edition.wizards.com. I wonder.
Well, because, yeah, it's just so not for people who play Magic.
Yeah, it's not for anyone.
Because, like, the only people who will truly be opening this are going to be website or, like,
Or these are for people
Logan
like Post
Paul
Malone
and stuff.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
Logan Paul and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we talked enough about that shit.
I went back to Target tonight to see if they had any more of the 40k Magic decks. They did not.
Yeah, so I guess that is
Probably
something.
won't get more.
Probably not. This past Friday, they released all of the Warhammer 40,000 commander decks for Magic. They're pretty neat if you play Magic.
I'm sure you weren't expecting such positivity from any of us.
No.
I'll say that they're pretty neat.
Yeah, they're pretty neat. So I guess we can talk at least a little bit about what we're working on. I've been working on converting the new Sister of Sigmar from the choir, who kind of has like a little plague doctor-esque mask and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've done a lot of work on them, and they're getting, I think, pretty close to completion. I just have to do a little more work on their staff and some other sculpting details. But
Yeah, no, she looks cool. Good use of that exiled dead warband model.
yeah, the little necromancer. Yeah, so I've
Mm-hmm.
been working on that. And I've also slowly been working on converting a Dark Elf Blitzer for Blood Bowl. But
To comment on the sister you're working on, I almost want to say that GW now releases so many products and so many models that, like, looking at that, like, I wouldn't have even remembered where that model came from.
oh yeah, like a lot
Yeah.
of the stuff, unless you physically looked at it or thought about using it, you're not gonna. There's so much.
When we
stuff
post
now.
something about this on Instagram, almost certainly there will be a comment or two like, "Where's that model from?" Because
Despite
yeah,
the fact that it's not really changed that much.
yeah, no, it's true. It's largely the same model, but
Yeah.
yeah, just too many models, and
The head for
they're
the
so
model.
inconsistent.
Yeah, the head for the
With
model was actually the head from the one like sorcerer scribe from the Cursed City game. The one that I
mm-hmm.
got with like the staff and the long beard. That's their head.
Yeah, it's cool. I feel they're just so inconsistent with how they scale things, whether they're hardcore, heroic, uh, more true scale, or a mixture of between. Like every release is different.
Yes, that's true.
It seems like they don't have a guiding principle.
They do
Games
not. Like
Workshop
this
doesn't have a
model,
guiding
like their
principle.
feet are actually pretty small. That's like almost the coolest part about the model.
Was the head tiny? I don't remember.
The head's pretty small, probably a little too small, or it is too small. Like the one that I'm using here is a little larger.
Yeah,
But so that's a
it,
general trend now for Games Workshop. They're making the heads of their models smaller and smaller.
this person is really tall.
Oh yeah, they're
Based on
super
where their
tall.
hips probably are. This is like an Overwatch character with
Let's
legs.
talk about the chameleon skinks.
They look good.
What are they even for? Are they a Warcry
They're
warband?
from Warcry, and they look great.
It's a new
Wait,
warband?
is Warcry's
Oh
the
shit,
Yes.
chaos skirmish game, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. I guess
okay,
what
so
other
that's
non-chaos things have they released for
Some
Warcry?
elves. Dark elves. I
I
have
mean
some
they've
of
I
them.
The
think they've released rules for most of the factions though, even though they
yeah,
didn't
okay,
release
yeah.
like special warbands.
Yeah, but these little friends look good.
Well, I
Just
don't
a
like
little skink on the base.
yeah. I don't like how that one its blowpipe or whatever sticks into the base.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's stupid.
Like that's such bad design.
Yeah.
Like it's so big that it doesn't even fit physically on this model.
When
Why
he's
would they do
already
that?
like standing on top of a fairly large, tall,
And is he
like tree
actually
leaf thing.
are they holding a dart that wouldn't even fit in the gun in the tube?
Yes. Well, maybe the fletching is malleable but even still.
Like yeah, so while
So
I like the
largely they
models,
are good, however,
they have some
not
questionable
without.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they one of and we'll probably talk a bit more about this because some Imperial Guard were revealed, but at least one of theirs is a similar thing that like their sword is so big it sticks beyond the base. Like it's such a bad design
Well, yeah, so I guess over the weekend they finally showed better pictures of a lot of the new Cadian models, and
that everyone knew was coming. And
yeah,
yeah, so I guess that was for to celebrate the 35th anniversary of 40K. They had some reveals, and they were basically showing the new Imperial Guard Cadian models.
yeah. One thing that I first want to say, like before they actually show, well, if you don't watch the video, but before they actually show the models, they have a picture, like a mock of the box set you can buy, and holy shit, that artwork. Like if you just look at the face of the guy, it's kind of neat. But then you look like, oh shit, what's going on with his arms? They look awful. Then you go like, oh shit, what's going on with his gun? Like that's too big for them to even hold it.
Well, and then
Like
there's a person in the background that also has a gigantic gun, so it's not even like
yeah,
yeah,
this is
wow, it looks bad.
awful looking art. Like it's awful. Like look where they've attached the bayonet to that huge gun. Like it's so bad. I don't
But it's awful looking art for like an artist that is clearly good.
Yeah,
yeah, like
they just didn't like, and that's probably going to be the codex. Like, I feel this is a good representation of like how you're about to be let down
oh
by the
yeah, it is.
releases.
Like it's like holy shit. Like most of the time in the artwork, the weapons look better. Like here, that's not true. I don't think
They might not look worse, but they're similar. They might even that picture. It may even be worse,
it. I think it's worse,
which is hard to believe.
which is a rare thing, I would say. Well, so let's just go down and look at some of the models. Um, so I think overall the Cadians look pretty good, and they've certainly tried to improve some of the heroic proportions and stuff. and I think overall they did an okay job. And there are certainly a lot of improvements on these models. Like their
Um,
feet aren't so big, but the biggest thing that strikes me, their
well,
heads are just too small.
there's the one female sergeant there. Like, look at that tiny head, and she even has like a hat and like cloth around her face. Like it,
Yeah, I don't really
but
get it. Like, so Games Workshop is clearly moving in a different direction for proportioning their models, and they've really, like in the past, all the models used to have huge heads, and now they're sort of going in the opposite direction. And
started with those Escher models. I don't get it because like a lot of people are like, oh wow, these look good. Like going to that better true scale or like better proportions, and it's just like, are they though? Like they're different,
they're
but
different, and I think it like if they
they're
just
still better.
if their heads were bigger, I think they would look pretty good. But like they're just too small. Like Infinity, like they have like very nice looking models mostly, and they're scaled better, their weapons are scaled way better, but they often have really small heads, and they just to me look a little bit ridiculous. And this
I
is
mean, these like they're if you don't consider the heads, like the feet actually look. I mean, probably somewhat big, but not like okay. Like they probably have big, bulky boots, whatever. But then when you see the heads, it's just like, ooh, what's happening here? Mm, are their weapons smaller than the old Cadians?
I think they're bigger.
Probably just
Yeah.
because they're bigger models. Like, I wonder what the size of this is to a Primaris. Like, probably equal in height.
My guess is they'll be similar to some of the other guard because like the death core of Krieg, if we the models we put together, they were a little bit bigger than the Forge World versions, but not hugely bigger, and they are smaller than Primaris. Like so they'll probably look okay compared to a lot of things, but I don't know.
Like they
Scrolling
cert
through the models, their poses look all right. I think some of them, it's like kind of hard to see like where's the anatomy underneath there because of the like skirt type thing on their uniforms, and it makes me kind of wonder, wouldn't it have been cool if they just made new Imperial Guard? I mean, they could have been like Talaron or one of the old ones, but like a new plastic thing. Particularly when it was only a year ago that they released the updated Cadians with the like additional heads and so forth. So, like, did they have to do these? Like, they needed new guard because the old Cadians are a little boxy and not that great. But did they have to be Cadians again? I guess it's just their IP and they have nothing other than that. But uh,
Soldier that's kind of running with the las gun and his head's down, the one in the
oh,
same image with the flamer. It kind of looks like he's exhausted and perhaps coughing up at like
also, I think
uh,
that one that you're talking about, Greg, is to me is almost like a good example of one that just they just don't look right to me.
yeah,
well,
something.
actually, this one might be an example of that the horrible codex art. Like, that's a big arm.
Well, yeah, like the to me,
It's
everything
true.
about it looks wrong. Like the
But
arm
it's
looks
it's
wrong.
primarily just a huge arm because the head is tiny. And that's even with a
And
fucking
even
helmet.
the hand, his hand isn't. I mean, it's still big, but it looks an alright size, but like the sleeve is it's
Well, so
big.
that's another thing Games Workshop, they've also taken to having like a lot of their pants and stuff are really puffy and just big. Like they
They're
don't have
stuffed with cotton.
yeah, they don't have a lot and like these legs, for instance, the definition of the folds in the cloth and stuff looks
Is
pretty
weak.
like soft, and
Yeah.
it results in a point where it's like almost hard to tell where things start and begin with like where the knees
Well, that's why
are
they
and
put
where
knee pads there, Adam.
yeah, but those
To,
look kind of weird.
they do.
Like
It
they're
looks like a
weird.
halo thing or something. Like they put them on. Like why? Like yeah, I just find it so weird. Like their heads are just so small. Like because they have a bulky helmet, but the bulky helmet is the only thing that's making them maybe not look teeny tiny, but they still look teeny tiny.
Yeah, I it's just really strange. Like I don't quite get
There's
where they were going.
one I suspect is a female head that's just leveling a rifle. It says Cadia on her helmet
Oh yeah,
next to
yeah.
someone who's
Oh
like
my
kind of
god.
maybe talking in a
Look at how
comms or
squat
something.
her head is.
Like it is so like she might not even have a head.
Yeah, that's awful. That looks awful.
And because of that, it makes their weapons look even bigger. Like if these models had a head at least a third bigger, maybe pro you could probably make it
So,
twice the size
yeah,
and
I
it
agree.
probably wouldn't look bad. Maybe it would be a little big, but like it's made like the head is such a focal point, an important part of the model, and they've ruined them.
I
Yeah.
don't like these models.
Yeah, like
They're
I almost
bad. They're just bad. How did they do it? And then the guns are still big and dumb, particularly the special weapons. Good God.
also, and again, well, actually, we haven't mentioned this yet, but I think a lot of the posing is okay, but they still manage to at least have one version of the like the power metal squatting pose. They still did it.
I
Like
like the head on that one with
it's a
the
cool
melted
looking
gun
head,
though.
yeah. Like, how are they still doing it? How are they still making those poses? No one stands like that ever. Also, look at the strap holding that dumb looking meltagun. Like, how
It is the thickest leather.
do they always
Well,
have their?
that's because it's the biggest gun. Holy
Yeah, I mean,
fuck!
fuck that even that thick leather probably can't hold or contain it.
Yeah, it looks horrible.
There's a command squad, and I don't know. It almost seems like their heads are a little bigger, or like they don't. To me, they don't look quite as awful for some reason.
They look a little better.
But
Like
they
some of
probably
the
still
stuff with like
basically
the
are.
helmets and stuff, it sort of obscures things and it's harder to like understand like
The helmets seem like they sit really low on their heads.
they do. Like super low.
Like it almost like there's no hair or anything. Um,
But it's not for all of them. It's for
there's the one command squad sergeant that's like holding his helmet, or like it's probably not a sergeant, it's like a commander or whatever. And I mean,
doesn't
maybe
that
it's
look
the
like
picture.
ice? Like I don't know, it's
It
not
looks so
sculpted
poorly
well.
sculpted.
Yeah, it's like it's like I sculpted it. It was the first time I ever tried to sculpt someone holding a helmet, and it's just like kind of get it in there, like get like a
Yeah,
closed fist. Like, it's
They just seem
okay.
like bad 3D renders. Like as you were saying with the non-distinct folds, the fat tube of
Go
putty.
to the one with there's the one command squad dude with the the mask over his face, and he has his las gun propped over
The
his
medic,
arm.
dude.
Oh, I guess he is
I think he's a
a
medic,
radar
yeah.
medic. Like, you look how he's holding the rifle, like he has his arm wrapped
Oh my
around the
god.
stock.
That
Like, thinking
hand.
about any, like, well, the hand looks bad,
The hand
but
looks
just
fucking awful.
thinking about any modern day battle rifle, or even like World War II era battle rifle, imagine holding it like that. Having your hand wrapped around the stock like that. Like, people don't hold weapons
Well,
like
that,
that.
and again, look at that hand.
But I mean, I guess this is the future.
Like,
So
what the fuck's? Oh my god. So
it's
these models
bad.
are terrible. I think they're
The more I
terrible.
look at them, like the worse they get.
Like, look at their
Yes.
fucking legs. They're like odd.
And doesn't everybody hate the power fists where they have the fingers clenched into a fist?
And when they have a fucking cable going to them.
Yeah.
And
Like,
when they
that's a
hold them up
fucking
in
big.
the air, like I just
And when they have a bolt pistol.
yeah,
Yeah, these
holy
models are
shit.
bad.
They
And
look
what I find
awful.
interesting, I guess it would be interesting to have a side-by-side comparison with some of these to
Mhm.
the Blackstone Fortress Chaos Guard, because, like, I thought those were really good.
They look a lot better. Okay, everybody, look at the one holding the standard. Like, you can actually sort of see where his crotch is. Doesn't it look like his head's like up too high?
Yeah, I mean that's a thing that you almost never see.
Yeah. And look
But
at his hand holding the banner. Look at that hand. That looks horrible.
it also looks like where their knees are is awkward to the
Well, yeah, I
like
don't
how
think.
long. But then this gets back to like
You
why do they
can't
have the
tell
little
where the knees are.
skirts? Like I feel it's hard to see what's back there. It's just like but it kind of looks weird. I don't know why type thing.
So
Because
okay. So we really shit on like the normal guardsmen. They look
They're
horrible.
terrible.
Um, they then decided they were going to make heavier duty heavy weapons for some reason. Um,
Holy fuck, they're big.
they're
they
kind of
look
stupid.
I saw some pictures of like military stuff, like particular I'm just gonna call it the thud gun that looks almost identical to like a
Mhm.
real world thing. So like I think that's all
The
fine.
thing that I thought is the weirdest was the las cannon one. It's
Well,
like
you could only fit like two of these in an entire regular size GW case.
I
that's
think
true.
if they were like a third smaller, they would still be big weapons, but I think they would be better. But these are fine. I mean, I can only imagine the people with
Are
them look
bad.
awful, but like you can't see that very well. Um, we probably don't even have to talk about the Sentinels. They're a little different, a little boxier, but I don't remember what old Sentinels look like, and they're
Who
Sentinels.
cares?
They look fine.
I like the old Sentinels.
The old Sentinel was good. The only thing that I can say about these newer Sentinels is these still look good, and they're probably quite a bit nicer than the older ones. But the biggest
Hmm
thing is you can assemble it with a fully armored carapace, so you can't see the awful looking drivers inside.
It's like,
Yeah.
So
that's important. It's an
so
important
that
Yeah.
I
feature.
think it's like I like it. That's good.
Like,
And
that
they probably
elevates
have all
these
the
to
weapon options.
that elevates this to the best kit
Yeah,
that we've seen thus
yeah.
far.
Okay, and now they have a commissar here.
What fucking bullshit. Like this
Yeah,
is this
gosh.
is like clown shoes. This is fucking terrible. And like I feel this is something that a lot of people I've seen are like, "Oh, this is the best. It's so good." Like awful looking gigantic bolt pistol, small stupid head, terrible looking metal armor with no real detail, huge gigantic clown feet,
At least his
and
head's pretty big.
not big enough
Yeah.
compared to
And
those
then,
feet. But the
like,
thing I think I hate the most is that his sword literally goes beyond the base, and that's when he's fucking standing on rocks. He's standing on fucking rocks, and he's still his sword. Like, what horrible design! Like, the sword is too big to put him on his base. Like, what the fuck? How could GW do this?
yeah, it's
Like, what?
it's
It
really
just seems like
bad.
such amateurs. Guard release is horrible.
um,
Once we get through this, I put a link in the Twitch chat that has the kind of chaos kill team thing called the Blooded. The pictures will probably be bad, but these appear to be kind of like the multi-part kit of the Blackstone Fortress stuff. And I thought we could look at them a little bit and see, like, are these better than the Cadians? And I think they are.
well, their legs
Or they
and
do a
stuff aren't.
horrible job of.
They're not as puffy, so they have thinner looking legs and stuff, so it's easier to tell what's going on.
Looks like their heads are bigger.
I think there
Well,
are. Well, let's go back to the Cadians for now, but so they also have new heavy weapons. That's
wait,
fine.
so what are those other gigantic heavy weapons?
Bigger heavy weapons. That's that's what they are. Yeah. The normal
Like,
heavy weapons, I think, look pretty good. And I
well, one
think,
of the face of the heavy bolter looks he's weird. It's a weird fucking face, ugly face.
But
Which a lot of these faces
that's
are ugly,
fine.
which is
That's
kind of cool
yeah.
that they're like actually different looking faces.
They don't have to be pretty people.
Yeah, I like that. I like a bunch
so
of these are bad. Which,
what's
admittedly, probably the regular guard have some interesting looking faces.
they
It's
do, yeah.
just they're so small. It's like I don't even care.
They
Yeah,
might be a size that's all right to put on a smaller body.
maybe.
Probably not though.
Yeah,
Is
you're
they're
I
honestly
think
they're
this is
probably
look at
smaller
that
than the
las
current
pistol that
Cadian
the heavy
heads.
bolter guy has. It looks kind of like a flare gun.
I assume that's a
That's
flare gun. I
okay.
feel um yeah, yeah, damn. I don't these models suck.
Like some of the stuff, I think there'll be a few instances where some of the stuff will be usable in other things, and you could
But
probably
my guess
rework
is the
them.
heads will be too small for anything. Kind of like the Escher heads. You're like, oh, they're a bit too small for the Escher, but I bet you could use them on other things. And like the answer is actually no.
And yeah, um, they might they might be smaller than the actual Cadian, like the older Cadian heads. And if that's true, they might work. Like, I don't know, they're bad. They're just bad. So they also showed the Kasarkin models.
Do we want
Or
to talk about the blooded models?
oh, I
Like
guess let's look at them.
the pictures are so bad, it's hard to tell. But to me, it looks like the heads are a little bit bigger, and I think they look better than the Cadians generally. But the web store pictures are bad. It's kind of hard to see.
The
There's still
commissar dude is horrible.
the Commissar
Yeah,
dude's
that was
terrible.
different.
I think they still some of their poses are a little awkward. They still have some
They
of the
are.
skirts and stuff, but like the sniper one looks great, but that's just because it was lifted from the Blackstone Fortress model. It was good. Like I think there are some that are pretty good. Um, they all would need modification.
Yeah.
but
Those
they're
are
a little
huge
better.
las guns.
Yeah, those guns, my god. So in addition to those Cadians, they also showed the Kasarkin or
Yeah.
Kasarkin or whatever you call them. And let's look at them. I think they are better than the other Cadians, but I think they still suffer from a lot of the same problems.
Did we suspect that this release would be so bad? One that we have talked about and for so long. Like, wow, I can't wait until they redo Guard.
I didn't think they'd be as bad as they are.
I thought they
No.
would be good. I honestly thought they would be good.
So the
Yeah.
Kasarkin are better. They still, their heads I think are still too small. And they still kind of have like puffy pants and stuff. But because of their additional armor and stuff, they are much.
It's harder to know for sure that they're fucked.
Yeah, like a lot of the detailing and stuff looks much better defined, and they look quite a bit better. Their weapons are too big, but like that's just a given with Games Workshop. So I think I would be content with buying these models and modifying them. I don't think I would be content with the other Cadians.
I feel because they have helmets, like I think some of the ones with the helmets that you can see their faces, they don't look wildly small. Um and that's partially just because of all the armor and stuff, and maybe the helmets too are just a little bit bigger than the other ones. They're probably not that different, but they don't look as awful.
Yeah, as I said, I still think their heads are too small, but
They also suffer from like I guess they have more armor, so it's even
Look like a
puffier.
lot of their heads are like leaning downward a little bit. At
Yeah,
least the helmeted ones.
because they can't fit their necks around their armor, so they have to crane them forward like a giraffe. I
how do you glue their heads on? Are they like
and why do they?
their heads are
God,
like on a ball and socket joint, so like you have control over that.
okay. Um, wow, do the I hate that they have the backpacks with the big ass cables. Like, God, their weapons are terrible. They're just
I
so
love that.
terrible. Like, and because of it, probably a bunch of their poses will be almost impossible to save because they were holding such big weapons that
Why do they have like the cords to a power pack if they then have a magazine as well?
That's not a real. You can't think about stuff like that, Greg.
Yeah.
They've always been like that.
it's because the design is secretly horrible. Although I guess it's not a secret, but people think they're good. I can't believe how disappointing the guard are. I mean, now it's to me, it's almost just like, well, they're Acadians. You expected them to be shit. Maybe in 10 years they'll release other guard and they won't be as garbage. Jesus fuck.
And it'll be 20 more years. Yeah, see, and the thing that's such a shame is like they made their feet aren't as big now. Like they finally did it. And but yeah, they're bad. They're rough. Hey Dave, nice to have you here.
It's like hot take. Like the worst models of recent probably not the worst model in recent memory. It's just they're ones that I was actually looking forward to, and when they're so bad, it's just fuck that plasma rifle for the Kasserkin. Like
Mm-hmm.
it, it's like, could they be serious? Is this them actually being serious, or is this like them trying to pull a joke on all their fans?
They're serious.
It doesn't look like it. It looks like they're literally trying to like laugh at. Uh,
Well, one positive note is you don't have to worry about buying any of this shit and doing stuff with it. It's bad.
like literally not. Like I don't.
Like, why should you waste any time with any of it?
It makes me then question other models that I thought were okay. Were the Steel Legion, were their heads way too small?
Or the Death Core.
The Death Core, yeah.
I think they're a little too small. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess they were helped by the fact that they have like a helmet and a gas mask. So it's just like,
Well, so
can't.
them, like, their feet should be a little smaller, and their head should probably be a little bigger. Bomb squad or hockey goalies? Yeah. Well, so I want to, Dave, did you get a chance to look at all of the new Cadian Imperial Guard models? And if you did, what what do you think of them?
Actually, I think the post you're in that had the sprues for the Kasserkin, like there's the one picture of it looks like a female sergeant with sunshade sunglasses.
I,
It's from like today's operative kill team something.
oh yeah.
This is she looks like so well. This is, I guess, from that picture makes me think maybe some of the heads aren't super tiny
Because
because
yeah, this one our head looks bigger, but now it doesn't look like it's. It looks like it's seated too low almost.
yeah, because on this gets back to this idea because of the like little skirt thing. It's like a black box of mystery. Like, how do the legs attach? Do they have a butt? Is there a torso in there? Do they have space for their intestines? Who knows?
Right? It could be a dude too. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, sure, it certainly could be.
Like,
And but the anatomy questions are still there. Like it just what is happening here? So I don't know. And there's also the one like maybe pulling something from a pouch.
mm-hmm.
That one, like the head also looks okay in size. So like I kind of feel these ones look
They look better.
better. I mean, maybe not the Halo dirt bike masks
Those make their heads look smaller. Yeah.
because it's like there's no room for a chin practically.
Mm-hmm.
God.
But so I think those ones, like the normal Cadians, yeah, Dave. What do you think of these models? Um, like to me, yeah. Like I don't know, Dave. I think their heads are just way too small.
This is for just the regular Cadians we're
Yeah, these
talking
the
about,
regular
right?
Cadians we have here, the less heavily armored ones. Which another thing we didn't even talk about this, but like a lot of these Imperial Guard, it's still thick in the ankles. So like, yeah, it's like there's no definition in their legs. Like, are their pants just super puffy, or are they just like super
Jet
buff?
puffed.
Yeah, they're jet puffed. one thing, their last rifles, while they're too big, like they literally actually added what might be front and rear sights. It's like that's cool. Like
Yeah, I think the last gun design is better
they
than
finally
it's
did it.
maybe ever been.
Yeah. But look so
I don't think
small.
I've seen any criticism. I mean, I guess I didn't look that closely, but from what I've seen, people like this. I think it's just people waiting a long time, wanting to like it, and convincing themselves that it's good. And now that it's like gone the opposite way of like making really small heads rather than way too big or too stocky, they're like, since it's different from what it used to be, they're like, oh, it's good now. Like they care about scale now just because it's different, even though it's not really better, it's still bad.
I think this one here, the maybe the one with the female head that is Cadia written on the helmet, that one might be the worst. That head. It literally looks like a baby. It's so small.
The one throwing a grenade, holding it, like the rifle looks okay, like some sights and stuff, but the the hand doesn't look real.
Well, the
No, almost
hands.
the hands just look bad.
Well,
These
yeah, a lot of the
models.
hands like this. Their one hand he's holding like this, or their rifle looks awful. Like what the fuck is going on? Like where are the knuckles? Where is that really what it looks like, or was this just like the photo? There was something weird photo editing or something.
My guess is that's just what it looks like, but I don't know. Some they just look so weird. They look so bad. What a disappointment. And then most of them have like almost like a sling lug underneath the foregrip that looks so fake, like it's not actually there for a purpose. Like they would never be made like that. Ah, damn.
This the medic. It was we talked about earlier, but the medic here slinging the rifle across their shoulder. What? Yeah, like what has happened to their hand holding their rifle? Literally, what happened? Like, oh my gosh. Oh my. Yeah, the hand to face ratio was way off. And I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I sort of feel like I've seen so much now with people talking about like doing their true scaling and stuff. And a lot of it, all that means is make them really tall with really small heads.
yeah.
And like, I don't know. Have you ever, if like, neck, when you walk outside in the morning and look at people, like, take a good look at at people. Do they look like?
Yeah, no.
Probably not. Maybe a few of them, but in general, like, oh, and this, like, this dude with the power fist up there, like, you see like a side profile of the legs. It's like, holy shit, this is getting into like almost like Orlock territory, where like the biggest, broadest legs with no clear like articulation or bend at the knee or anything.
Yeah, damn. Just what a disappointment.
I almost think we should I almost think we should write like an actual blog post about this stuff. And like talk about some of the stuff, because like I could see people like doing internet searches and wanting to read about the new case. We should, yeah, I don't know.
That would be a lot of work though.
Oh, yeah, it would be a lot of work, and it's probably not worth
To
our effort.
write.
So like a power fist is supposed to, it's like a big fist that they send like electricity or something through it such that you can punch and crush stuff.
It doubles your strength. It makes you really strong. Obviously. They look really strong.
Yeah, I don't. Oof. Yeah, and then like they made like their feet smaller, but then you go back down to this awful commissar here, and it's like they made the feet bigger again. It's like I don't, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I feel if we had a blog post describing the problems, like we probably should have pictures of the actual models.
Well, and then I would probably also want to try and fix like
Yeah, so I mean, I think it could be a good and informative post. It would be, it would take some work.
There would be very little to gain from it. Because they're shitty Cadians.
But couldn't we also argue there's little to gain from any of the posts we made on the blog?
Yeah, I guess though, but some of the stuff we're doing, like, I feel we couldn't make one of these into like a red church member that easily. I feel it's just, it'd be a lot of, I don't see as much use out of them.
I feel, or I'm just thinking about a post describing the problems.
Yeah.
I could see it as quality content that I would like to see.
Yeah, it's true. I guess I'm just thinking about how I don't want to write
It'll
that.
take a long time, but
It'd be a
we
lot
should
of,
still consider doing it because yeah,
yeah.
like I've seen almost no
Well,
one talking about.
that Escher post is one of the ones that gets the most traction.
It's true.
Actually, so I brought up the other thing. They have some more pictures of the one command squad. So here, this guy on the command squad standing on the rock. Like this is another good example of look at that plasma pistol.
That pistol needs a shoulder strap.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
feel this plasma pistol, if they made that a quarter of the size, it would look
I feel if
fine.
you cut away everything, like below the plasma coils and behind the metal at the front,
Mm-hmm.
it would look it with a little skull kind of at the front, like it would look okay.
But it would still be too big.
But I mean,
This
yeah, it
fucking
would be
power
way too
sword has
wide.
a cord that goes to his wrist.
It looks like he has
Like,
a bionic hand.
oh yeah, maybe he does actually.
And look at his holster. That's actually relatively small for a holster, but look at the
But there's a
filigree.
gun in it. There's a gun in that holster.
And that's also like that's not how a pistol grip of a pistol. They don't look like that
This is the
angle.
These
future.
ones do.
Yeah.
The
I don't-
future.
Is now.
That's cool.
I hate these models.
I think, Greg, that we could still probably get some traction with such a post, but it's not as searchable in that, like, the other one was about female representation. That's more searchable, I think.
It could still be a quality article.
Yeah, it could be. Actually, we should probably think more deeply on some of this stuff and pull together something to record a podcast about this. And then we can have an inflammatory sort of clickbaitish title to it about New Guard, like the worst Games Workshop models in the last 3 years. Or like,
Well, they're still not worse than the Orlocks.
true.
That's true.
Not even close. Like they're like on a pedestal
Yeah.
compared to the Orlocks.
Even just something like New Guard models worse than we could have ever imagined.
Yeah.
Because I feel that, for my general impression, the general consensus is like these are so good. But then
Yeah.
it just seems like people are saying they're so good. It gets back to this idea that they like the idea of these models. They like the idea that they're new plastic models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wonder if the Cadian, like the year-old
Cadia
Cadian
destroyed?
accessory heads, do you think
was.
they're too small?
They're smaller. Yeah, they are smaller, and like a lot of them sometimes look a little weird when you glue them to the Cadians.
Why are they still making Cadians if Cadia is destroyed?
Cadia
Yeah.
Stands, Greg.
Yeah.
Cadia Stands.
People ask that a lot. Like,
That's stupid lore shit that they have like Cadia Stands. Like, I think it's just because it's their IP thing.
well, like the biggest, like, while I didn't see a lot of negativity with like the look of the guard, I did see a lot of people saying like, why didn't you make something else?
Yeah.
Which, yeah, is like a big thing. Like, why they really should have.
Did they really have to do this again?
No, they
Yeah,
did
that
not.
commissar is bad.
And like
This
I
commissar,
saw a lot of people saying like, "Oh, and this is my favorite thing of the
I think this
release."
commissar, what this reminds me of is the original Horus Heresy boxed game with like the Praetor with the plasma pistol and like the Crozius or whatever. That was just like so awful in terms of how like short and whatever they were. This is that model for a new generation.
It reminds me of like with maybe it was the Cadian, one of the vehicles, how they gave you a Cadian
Oh
dude
yeah.
standing straight up. It reminds me of like somebody taking that model because you have this extra model and trying
Mhm.
to convert it into something you could use for your army and never being satisfied with it because you
You're
shouldn't
trying to
have done
convince yourself you
it.
like it, but
I
deep
mean,
down
Absolutely.
knowing you don't.
well, I mean, this is the
Kind of
thing.
like putting your models on square bases because it's all you have, or a slaughter base. Gluing a
Yeah.
plastic model to a slaughter base because,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
only
This
have those
reminds
slaughter
yeah.
bases.
Reminds me of taking that standing Cadian model and you're trying to build something out of it and you just have a slaughter base.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. Maybe that doesn't resonate with others as much as it does me, but ooh,
Yeah.
that seems like growing up with the hobby. That's like,
Yeah, if you were like 14, 15 years old and like you don't have the money to buy the stuff you want, but you have that that model and like you have some slaughter bases.
oh God.
I mean, the thing is with this commissar, getting back to this, it's like at least they're not crouching in a power metal pose and stuff. But it's like there's so much else wrong with it that like, oh,
Like, doesn't even matter.
it doesn't even matter.
Fuck.
Shameful.
I wish we could talk to GW designers.
I wish we could too.
I mean, but then we'd feel bad about shitting on them.
Because, like, yeah, they put a ton of effort into all of this, and they really did. And they're.
Well, and like they have good designers, and like the artists, they have good artists.
Mm-hmm. I
I
think
think
that.
it's, as we talked about a lot, I think it's the like just art direction and the oversight is just bad. They're too inconsistent. They don't ensure that like a consistent level of quality is always there with a consistent type of scale. And
Yeah, there's just none of that.
yeah, my god.
A lot of it.
Nixon, like if we were starting now, like I wouldn't start now, like the hobby. I guess you have to come in a lot of cases, you have to come in when you're young and dumb because otherwise,
Yeah.
yeah, like this is expensive and looks pretty bad. And like,
What the fuck is it? Look at that. I was doing some for Warhammer Plus. There's like a Warhammer community picture. There's like
That's horrible.
an orc, a
That's
commissar, a
horrible.
necron, and
Like
a
that,
space marine. Have you ever?
I hate that. If I saw that starting the hobby, I would not start it. Like I
No, it
hate
looks
that. That
awful.
orc is so bad.
They're all awful.
Yeah.
The
Well, I don't
space
know. The
marine,
orc is the worst.
the orc's the
The
worst.
Necron is really bad. Like they took something that is pretty easy to look cool and ruined it.
The space marine's awful. The
I
human looks the best.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can't. They're all so bad that it's
I hate
weird for
that.
all of it's like most of the things like that's cool stuff, and they literally made stuff that should be hard to fuck up.
Like I like the old wonky second edition orcs so much better
Yeah.
than that orc. Yeah, that shit's horrible.
Yeah. Rough. Really rough.
Well, at least you
Um,
don't have to buy any of this.
maybe we should stop.
We
Yeah.
should.
It's
But
like 11:10
yeah.
here. I should go to bed.
Um yeah. Oh, so we should consider what we want to do. Like we probably should record a podcast about the Cadians. But we have to think about how to present it.
It's like Cadia Stands, but now maybe should it?
Like why?
I don't know. It's rough. Sorry everybody. Sorry hobby fans.
But
It's a sad
yeah, I'm
day for
sorry
all
for
of us.
all of
We can
us.
all feel sorry for ourselves.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for joining us tonight and listening to us rail on the new Cadian models. It's been fun.
I'll have to change the YouTube video for this stream because it'll go up on YouTube and
Yeah,
write something about the Imperial Guard being awful.
the new
Yeah.
Cadians being awful. Yeah. Um,
Should Cadia
interestingly,
stand after these terrible models?
yeah. Interestingly, coming into it, I didn't think they were as bad as they are, and I've now
Yeah.
discovered in our discussion that they're
I
not.
feel like when I looked at them first, it's like something feels wrong with all of this.
A
But
lot
now,
feels
after
wrong.
spending a little bit more time thinking about them, they're bad.
Hmm. Well,
Mm,
yeah. Thanks everybody. Keep on enjoying the
yeah.
hobby. Stay safe. Stay healthy. We will talk to
Yeah.
you again
Be well,
soon.
Dave.
Yep.
Yep. See everybody.
Over and out.